Oh shit. Is this thing live? Hello. Wait. Hang on. There we go. Hey! We fucking did it, guys. This is bound to be a total train wreck, so I appreciate all of you showing up. Oh. I appreciate all of you turning out for Mamba's first live appearance on camera. See, the cool thing is I don't have to put a shock collar on her to keep her in that bed. She sleeps there like 12 hours a fucking day anyway. So, hello. Welcome to my first live stream. And let's see now. Yes, I think we're good. How's the audio? Is the music too loud? Let me know. I'll turn it down. All right, well, sounds like the music goes. Can you guys even hear the music? Is that what's happening right now? Okay, good. Holy shit. Okay, there we go. There's all the chats. Holy hell. All right, guys, welcome. Good to see everybody. All right. So, while I'm waiting for my heart rate to go down, I wanted to give a big shout out. Last night, I had the distinct pleasure of being invited to the 67th annual Ramallah convention here in Houston. I got snuck in the back door by somebody who was doing the AV work there, and they got me in as an honored guest, which was very kind of them. I believe that they want to remain anonymous because I think they said that they have family in the West Bank, so I'm not gonna say who they are, but they gave me this scented candle in the shape of Palestine, because that's what that is. It's very clearly the shape of Palestine, and I just wanted to say thank you very much. That's very kind of you. I'm going to put it back there. I'm going to find a home for it back there at some point, but yeah, I appreciate you for that. Yeah. All right, well, you know what? Fuck it, we're here. We're gonna do it live. Here we go. Let's see. How do I navigate this? There we go. Hey, okay. First and foremost, I'm actually gonna turn the music down just a smidge. It's a little too loud. Okay. So I wanted to say something really quick about these two videos here. Guys, if you're a channel member, you probably already know, but if you're not a channel member, I got a lot of very, let's say, aggressive pushback because of these two videos. I got a lot of comments and a lot of nasty emails about them. So I just wanted to address it really quickly. These two videos I uploaded as members only videos about a month ago, around the 1st of July. And I uploaded these two videos because we bought a house towards the beginning of the month, and I knew that I wasn't going to be able to upload a regular video. So I dug these two videos up as these are videos from my old channel. These are over a year old, and they were never going to see the light of day on this channel. Never. Because they just don't fit with the theme. They are film critique videos. One of them is about Stanley Kubrick and the other one is about warfare. And, you know, I'm very proud of these videos, but they were never, ever going to be live on this channel because they just don't fit. And the YouTube algorithm really does not like it when you mix and match different types of content, especially with a relatively small channel. So I uploaded these as members only content because, you know, here's my perspective on it. I'm extremely grateful to every single person who subscribes to this channel. There's 100,000 of you now. I think 101,000 now, which is just crazy. But there are a handful of people who are paying me money to make content. And, you know, for me, I have a feeling of obligation when somebody's paying me money, and I've made a commitment to put out one video per week, every single week. And when I can't meet that obligation, I feel it feels bad, man. I don't like it when people are giving me money to do a thing and then I can't do a thing. So I decided to scrape these 2 videos up and just throw them on as a members only thing. As a way of saying, I'm sorry that I can't make a video this week. But the thing that I didn't do right is that I didn't explain to everybody that, no, this isn't a pivot for the channel. I'm not putting everything behind a paywall now. I was just trying to do something nice. So I guess I apologize for not explaining what was happening more, and that I wasn't, this month was really weird. I don't know if you guys noticed, I have not made normal content at all this month. So I just wanted to say, I appreciate the channel members. I appreciate the non-channel members. I appreciate all of my subscribers. I really do. At the same time, I reserve the right to upload exclusive content every now and again, as a way of saying thank you to the people that are helping me buy better equipment and stuff. So anyway, I didn't want to spend a lot of time on this, but I did just kind of want to mention that's what that was. I'm not going to, 98% of my content is still completely free. So that's it. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. We're going to move on. Anyway, first question. This was submitted by a member and it is entirely too long. So I'm going to look. I reserve the right to, if you send me a question in the form of a novella, I reserve the right to edit it down. I would have reached out, but I was pretty pressed for time this week. So I'm going to edit this question down and respond to it as best as I can. And if this person is here in the chat, let me know if I got it right or wrong. Okay. So here's my version of this question. Regarding your racism versus culture video, how can we prevent abuse of the idea that some cultures are better than others in certain aspects? Consider a group of supremacists or religious extremists. If the principle is that some cultures are better than others, don't we risk unleashing a wave of genuine hateful racism that solves nothing? It's a very good question. For those that aren't aware, this is the video that they're referring to. This is, by the way, one of my worst performing videos to date, which is, I guess, still pretty decent given that it got 35,500 views. But you can see this chart down here. I don't know if you can see it. That is my subscriber count as a result of this video. So after I uploaded, there was this massive exodus of subscribers. I think I lost like 500 subscribers, and then just barely, like yesterday, it clawed itself back up to being net positive. So to me, here's what that means to me. That means that I didn't do a good job of explaining the point that I was trying to make in this video, which is why I made a pinned comment trying to elaborate on it more. I made a members only post where I tried to explain what I was trying to say in this video. But even still, it's clear that, when that many people interpret what I was saying in a way that I didn't intend it, that means that I could have done a better job. So let's talk about it a little bit. So to go back to your question, how can we prevent abuse of the idea that some cultures are better than others in certain aspects? Okay, here's where I want to start with this. First of all, let me just clear up something. When I talked about some cultures being superior or inferior to other cultures, I think that there were a lot of people that interpreted what I was saying as American culture or white culture being broadly superior to other cultures. I assumed that because I had spent 95% of my time on this channel talking shit about American culture and Israeli culture, to include warmongering and genocide and colonization and the exploitation of children and materialism, that, and by the way, it being predominantly white people that perpetuate things like that, white politicians in the American government, the very white European Ashkenazis that are in Israel who are cosplaying as Middle Easterns, like, I assumed that because I had spent so much time talking about these things, that people would understand that I'm not a white supremacist and that I'm not aligning myself necessarily with all white people as a broad demographic. Which is why I didn't explicitly say that in the video. I figured, yeah, people will understand that. But my skin color is one of the least interesting things about me, as far as I'm concerned. I do not have any affinity with any other person because of the color of their skin. I have affinity with people based on their values. And so when I talked about my culture being superior, what I was primarily talking about was my values, what I consider to be the way in which you are to behave in society and operate in the world and treat other people. For me, that is, anarcho-libertarianism. I understand there's a lot of people that hate that I'm a libertarian and that push back on that. But that is, to me, the best way to encapsulate my values as far as the non-aggression principle and treating people with respect and allowing people maximal freedom and human rights. So that's what I meant when I said that. And I do think that it's important to be able to discriminate against people based on their values, even in situations where their values and their behavior are treated as synonymous with their race. So that's it. So as far as this question is concerned, if the principle is that some cultures are better than others, don't we risk unleashing a wave of genuine hateful racism that solves nothing? Sure. I think that there's always that risk. But I think that the key really should be that we don't force people of incompatible cultures to interact with one another. You know who was a big proponent of voluntary racial segregation? Malcolm X. You go back and listen to his speeches, man. He talked about that a lot. He talked about, and I don't want to put words in his mouth. It's been a while since I've listened to his speeches, but I remember being surprised by this when I watched him, is that he was a strong advocate for Black people voluntarily segregating themselves and going off and building their own community somewhere. And I'm perfectly okay with that. I think that anyone, freedom of association means that you should be allowed to freely associate with whoever you want or disassociate with whoever you want. I don't really take a lot of issue with things like discrimination because, as far as I'm concerned, if you discriminate too aggressively, that comes at a cost to you. But you should have maximal freedom to do that. So the question as well confuses, or not, maybe not confuses, but it conflates culture and race again. Again, I think that part of the problem is when people deliberately conflate their behavior with their race. And they say, well, I behave this way, or I believe this thing because of, or in relation to my ethnicity. And again, one of the strongest examples that we see of that is with the Jewish community. There's this deliberate conflation and confusion between that ethnic identity and the way that they behave and the values that they hold. I'm not forcing them to do that. And the fact that they do that doesn't absolve them of responsibility for their misbehavior. And the same should be true for any group of people, regardless of their particular racial demographic or whatever demographic aligns them. So anyway, I didn't want to belabor it too much, but I may do another video at some point where I explicitly lay out the problems that I have with predominant white culture as well. Again, even though I feel like I've done that exhaustively, I feel like I've done that to a great extent because, again, warmongering, genocide, colonization, all of these things I take issue with. But I'm less interested in the race of the people and more interested in the behavior, regardless of it. So when Obama was committing war crimes, I didn't take less fucking issue with that just because he was Black. It has nothing to do with that. He is a member of that same power structure, and he's killing innocent children the same way as a white dude would have. So I don't care. Anyway, I'm gonna move on. But like, this is obviously I have a lot of thoughts on this. I don't think I handled it well enough in that video. Obviously the title, I think I I think that a lot of people saw the title and responded reflexively, but I probably could have done a better job of explaining myself. So anyway, moving on. I hope that answers your question a little more. What do we got now? A lot of times, all signs point to Israel, but I really do think the conspiracy theorists that blame Israel for every evil worldwide are a detriment to the fight against Zionism and Jewish supremacy. Israel did 9/11 and Israel killed Charlie Kirk are claims that not only take away the focus on Islamic radicalization and leftist violence, but I believe it makes legitimate criticism of Israel harder for the broader public to take seriously. What is your opinion on the "It's Always Israel" crowd? Do you think it's a problem? Is it a Mossad psyop? Do yarmulkes melt steel beams? I'm going to make a fucking t-shirt that reads, "Do yarmulkes melt steel beams?" I'm going to do because that's very good. That's very good. But I'm sorry, I'll go back to this here. So real quick, let's talk about 9/11, because you brought it up as a specific example of a conspiracy theory that detracts from anti-Zionist movements, okay? I think there's a whole lot more to do with Israel and 9/11 than you're giving credit for, frankly. So, real quick, big disclaimer, I don't know what the fuck happened on 9/11. I think that nobody has the full picture because there has been a deliberate campaign of misinformation and obfuscation, right? Anyone that tells you that they know 100% what happened on 9/11 is either lying to you or to themselves. Okay? So, as with everything, I like to approach things like this with a little bit of agnosticism and say, I don't actually know what happened on 9/11. But I know that what they're telling me isn't true. I know that the 9/11 Commission is full of shit and was set up to fail. So if they're lying to me, why are they lying to me? What was the objective? What was the ultimate end result of 9/11? It was the clean break policy. It was the manifestation of Greater Israel. It was the attempt to destabilize the Middle East through military force. And I'm not saying that cui bono is the only way to assess something like this, but I do think that, cui bono is a good place to start. Michael Edwards, hey, good to see you, bud. Thanks, man. Oh, are you not turning out? Okay, I thought you were going to bed. Well, if you're going to bed, love you very much. Hope you sleep well. Sorry. 9/11. Let's talk about 9/11 real quick. Now, I have decided, spoilers, that next week I'm going to do a video on 9/11 because I really feel like, even though I think that there is an absolute abundance of excellent content that has been put out already about 9/11, it's clear that there's a younger generation, younger than me, that is maybe not aware of all of the weird and sketchy shit to do with 9/11, and in particular with Israel. And even the series, I rewatched the series that Tucker put out, the 9/11 series that he put out months back, and he touches on the Israel thing and he kind of winks and nods at it. He talks about the dancing Israelis, but he didn't bring up Larry Silverstein once, which is a little sus for me. I'm not saying anything about Tucker. I'm just saying, he covered a lot of ground in a very short period of time. Maybe he decided not to go super in depth on it, but anyway, so dancing Israelis. We were there to document the event. How the fuck were you there to document the event? How did you know that was going to happen? Exactly. Larry Silverstein, timing of the lease. He took over the lease seven weeks before the attacks, took out massive insurance policies, got paid out double because he fought hard for that in court. Imagine being the leaseholder of the Twin Towers and there's a terrorist attack and thousands of people die, and then you decide to go to court and fight for billions of dollars. How in the world is that not profiteering off of a terrorist attack? Anyway, whatever. He and both of his children, who all three of them worked in the towers, they all missed work on that day, which is very unusual for him. If you go back and look at the interviews with other people that worked with him, he was fastidious about eating breakfast in the towers every single morning before work. And he just so happens to miss that day. And so do both of his children. And then you've got the Israeli DEA art student spy ring. And then you've got the Odigo instant messaging warning. And then you've got Zim shipping. You've got all of these companies and organizations that have tangential connection to the Israeli government or Israeli society or powerful people in Israel that all had seemingly advance warning that this was going to happen. Now, does that mean that Israel did it? I don't know what that means, because to me, the differentiation between the Israeli government and the United States government at this point is non-existent. They are two cheeks of the same ass with just nothing but bullshit in between them. So what does it mean that Israel did anything, and what does it mean that the US government did anything? I don't fucking know, dude. But it's weird that all of these people that had connections to the Israeli government had advance warning that the attack was going to happen. So, and as far as I'm concerned, if you knew that it was going to happen and you didn't do it, if all of these different people knew that it was going to happen and none of them did anything to prevent it, none of them said anything to anybody else, none of them tried to save any of the lives of their Goyim coworkers, well, it's just a little sus. Anyway, so, but to go back to your question really quickly, because I'm not actually answering your question. The question that I think you're asking here is it possible to go too hard in the paint on the conspiracy theory bandwagon? Is it possible to go full full conspiracy theorist and you just take it too far and it becomes counterproductive? Sure, I can imagine that's possible. But let's imagine a spectrum. Let's imagine a continuum between absolute trust in the government on one side. You trust everything that the government tells you. And on the other side, you have total distrust in the government. You just reflexively believe that everything that the government says is a lie or a psyop. Okay, so we're on that continuum there. Where about on that continuum do you think is appropriate to be at this point? You think it's 50-50? You think it's maybe a little more towards that side? I think it's a little more towards this side. I think that if your starting position, if your first principle is that when the government tells you the truth, it's because they couldn't figure out a more profitable lie, you're probably going to be right more often than you're wrong. So if we are in a war, if we are in an information war right now for the soul of our country, whatever you want to call it, am I worried about people going too far? Am I worried about people spreading misinformation? Am I worried about people saying things that ultimately are not true about Israel? No. Because there's also misinformation going the other way. And there's an entire state and media apparatus pushing in the opposite direction and flooding the zone with misinformation in favor of Israel. So, if people are going to make a mistake, I would rather they make a mistake in favor of distrusting the government, distrusting Israel, assuming that whatever comes out of these fuckers' mouths is probably a lie. Anyway. No, I'm not that worried about it. Also, when it comes to Charlie Kirk, you mentioned Charlie Kirk as well. I don't know. I'm not an expert on Charlie Kirk. Clint Russell, Liberty Lockdown did an episode a few days ago where he was tearing into one of the latest Turning Point USA shills. I forget his name. Some fucking dweeb with a ponytail. And he said, you should have stayed out of this. You're out of your depth. You don't know what you're talking about. When Clint said that, he said it to me as well. I don't know much about Charlie Kirk. When I was on Clint's show and he asked me about Charlie Kirk, I was like, this is not something I've dug into. I don't like current event stuff because it changes so quickly and anything you know today is going to be wrong tomorrow. So I don't know about Charlie Kirk, but again, my base assumption is whatever they're telling us is probably bullshit. Sure seems like Israel would have benefited from Charlie Kirk not turning against them. Sure, why not? But beyond that, I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Oh yeah, is it safer to trust or distrust the government? Yeah, that was the point I was getting to there. Do you think Zionism is spread more by specific denominations or pastors or by Schofield Bibles? I'm going to tell you right now, nobody in the evangelical Zionist community even knows what a fucking Schofield Bible is. None of them have any idea. So I have spoken to pastors, non-denominational evangelical pastors, who have no idea who Cyrus Schofield is, who have no idea what dispensationalism is, and they're up there preaching it every Sunday. So I'm pretty sure it's not the Bibles at this point. It was about 100 years ago when that shit first came out. It was very influential back then because people actually read books, you know, but but no, it's not the Bibles anymore. The Bibles have been fully indoctrinated in, and now it's just these pastors regurgitating. It's 3 generations in, or however, 5 generations in, of people just like oral tradition, just repeating, oh, we must bless Israel. If we don't bless Israel, we're all going to die or something. Now, anyway, real quick, while we're on the subject, let's talk about Schofield, because again, I would like to, you know, spread a little bit of truth on this matter. Cyrus Schofield was a total piece of shit. He was an alcoholic, army deserter, a corrupt, disgraced politician. I think he was the what was he? Hang on, I have it written down here. He was a district attorney who was forced to resign after taking bribes. And then he abandoned his wife and his 2 daughters, and then he became an evangelical preacher. That's a typical pipeline, right? That's how that usually works. And so he wrote, oh fuck, I've got one actually. Hang on. He wrote this shit right here. I mean, he didn't write the Bible, but he wrote, let me find an example. So I don't know how well you can see this, but you see down here, you see that line and this dividing partition right here. All of that down here is his writing. It's just shit that he made up and included in the Bible. Now, how that's not heretical, I don't understand. Hang on one sec. Mamba wants to be let out. Okay, baby, hang on. Come on. Sorry. The lady gets what she wants. Where was I? Oh, yeah. So Schofield. He wrote just a ton of extra information in the Bible and just included it in the margins. Like he was this authority right up here, this authorized version of this Bible. And so this degenerate, corrupt, alcoholic, disgraced politician just decided to add a bunch of shit to the Bible, and then everyone in the evangelical community adopted it. Here's his big claim to fame. Dispensationalism is the idea that there are 7 eras of time in which God interacts with his creation in different ways. So this explains why it was okay for God to murder a bunch of children in the Old Testament and why it's not okay now, allegedly, somehow. This was his attempt to explain all of that. And it also, more significantly to what we're dealing with today in terms of Zionism, he taught that the Abrahamic covenant of the Old Testament is still fully in effect. So the Jews are still the chosen people, and they are set apart from the church. There's the church, which is the Christian church, and then there are the Jews, and they are still very important to God's plan. And he wrote all of this right before World War II and what all happened there. And so his writing was seen as very prescient and very meaningful for that reason. Anyway, so I just wanted to share that because maybe I should do an episode on Christian Zionism at some point. It just makes me mad because like this is what I grew up with, and I would love to fully and without reserve embrace the title of Christian, but there's just so much wretchedness within it, and it's in this current iteration that has such a stranglehold on American culture. It's just very frustrating. So I will do an episode on it at some point. What does this say? How did you come to your awakening? By that, did you ever think Israel had a big influence on the U.S. government? Was it something more recent? What was the journey of learning or unlearning like? Just curious to learn about your journey to Zionism and Israel-Palestine, especially living in the West, since we've been so propagandized on Israel. So... like I said, I was raised evangelical Christian. I was raised Zionist. And I had a lot of questions from an early age, in particular about the examples of genocide in the Old Testament, the Amalekites, the Midianites, Jericho, and Exodus in particular. I really didn't understand Exodus. I still don't understand Exodus outside of the context of God is okay with murdering children that don't need to be murdered. And so that started me on my journey. That's why I left the church. And then I spent about 2 decades in total ignorance as to the true nature of Israel. I just, I think it's been very easy up until October 7th to just be completely ignorant as to what's going on in Palestine as an American. And so, we want to talk about reasons for white people to be ashamed, or for me to be ashamed in particular. It's my ignorance as to that situation, my just total being oblivious to that. And then October 7th happened. I don't think that my story is very interesting in that regard. Like, I think that a lot of people woke up. I swear to Christ, Mamba is yelling at me to let her back in. I'll let her back in a second. I think that my story in this regard is not that interesting because I feel like there's a lot of people that woke up around October 7th. But I think the difference is that for me, when October 7th happened, I really started to look into the history. And I was looking at it from the context of a Rothbardian libertarian. And I was shocked and thrilled to find that Murray Rothbard had written an essay about Palestine. I think it's called War Guilt in the Middle East or something. Anyway, Rothbard wrote an essay as a Jew, as an anti-Zionist Jew, saying that this is completely unacceptable, what's happening. And so that was a huge turning point for me. And this is why it's so sad when people say, you actually care about this stuff as a libertarian? That's weird. Why would you care about this stuff as a libertarian? That is the saddest fucking thing that I could possibly hear. Because for me, one of the core things about being a libertarian is respecting property rights and individual sovereignty, and that people should have a right to defend themselves and defend their property, and that Palestinians have been brutalized and their rights have been rendered totally null and void by the West. So anyway, I don't think that my particular story as it comes to this is that interesting. I guess I just decided to go full. I decided to dive in balls deep, I guess is the big difference. Mr. Quigley, my question stems from the recent ambitions of Israel and certain upper echelons in our government trying to integrate our militaries together. As an American veteran that served overseas in Afghanistan, this makes me fucking mad. I don't blame you. What are your thoughts on this risk of entanglement? I know this will reduce our independence and further financially restrain us as a country. Would you ever do a breakdown on something like this in a video? Because that would be cool as hell. Okay, so we're talking about, I believe, Section 224, which is where, okay, the reason that I've not made a video about this yet is because it's still unfolding. It's not clear what's going to happen with it, but also I don't see how this is meaningfully different from the status quo that we've had for the past, decades, like since JFK was shot. Like, we're talking about Israel having undue access to our intelligence apparatus and undue influence over our military. Hello, we're at fucking war in Iran right now because of Israel. Like, I guess I'm not trying to dismiss people's concerns. I'm just trying to understand the anxiety here, which to me, it seems like this is just more of the same. The only difference is that they're taking it out of the public eye. So these are the notes that I took on it. The only thing that's meaningfully different here is that it shifts the relationship from visible annual aid towards Pentagon acquisition, which is by definition more opaque, because the Pentagon and they have never passed an audit. Like they are much less susceptible to any kind of public purview in terms of funding. So that's the major difference, is that they're taking it out of the public eye. Well, from my perspective, that's actually kind of a good thing, because it means that they still kind of give a shit about what we have to say about it. Like, they're not meaningfully changing what they're doing. They're just like, whoa, this anti-Israel sentiment is getting a little rowdy. We better take this out of the public eye. Which is surprising to me, because I have been convinced for decades that they couldn't give less of a shit if they tried about what we have to say. So, like, this war in Iran has a 70% disapproval rating, and that was like a month ago. I don't even know what it is now. So, I guess, let me know in the comments. By the way, I see the supers. I will read them before the end of the stream. I'm going to get through these questions first, and then maybe we'll take a break and I'll go back and forth and answer some supers before we get to the rest of the questions. But I do see them, and I will get to them, I promise. What was I saying? I lost my fucking train of thought. I'm still waiting for someone to explain to me why the fever pitch anxiety that we're seeing here is where it's at, when, in my mind, the prospect of nuclear exchange with Iran or Russia is significantly more urgent in terms of the likelihood of imminent global destruction. I'm not saying you can't be worried about both. This to me seems like status quo. So maybe somebody could explain. I'll look into it. If I'm wrong, tell me in the comments. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out together. We'll do it live. Do you think there's a chance of Western nations ever ridding themselves of Jewish influence and dominance? Will we surpass the 109 and be more prosperous, or are they too embedded? All right, first of all, I looked into it. 109 is a bunch of crap. In that it isn't countries. Okay. The list includes things like cities like Carthage and Alexandria. It includes towns. It includes Catholic dioceses. So this is not the question that is being asked, but I wanted to address it really quickly, because why would you lead with an inaccuracy like saying 109 countries instead of 109? It's because it's more expedient to say countries, but it's also inaccurate to say countries. So you're shooting yourself in the foot. All someone has to do is look into it for 3 fucking seconds and they can dismiss your whole argument. But the real question that is being asked here is, why is it? Well, okay, the question that's being asked is, do you think there's a chance of Western nations ridding themselves of Jewish influence and dominance? Yeah, I think there's a chance of that. And I think this is an important part of the question is, will we ever rid ourselves of things like psychopathy or pedophilia or corruption? Probably not. Do I think that if, for whatever reason, there was no Jewish influence in this country anymore, that wealthy people would stop being corrupt PDFs? Like, no, of course they would. So I don't think that, I think that the question that's really being asked here is there something unique to Jewish people and why they were discriminated against by such a diverse range of different people? Which is a very interesting question, by the way. This is a very interesting question that I hesitate to answer this live, because I want to be very fucking careful with how I respond to this question, because I want to, it's a very fraught question. Why were Jewish people discriminated against by such a wide variety of different people and cultures over such a broad period of time? Now, when looking into this question, found this comment on I guess this would have been Reddit. My mistake for going to Reddit for anything. But I thought it was interesting because this is a historian, allegedly. It was in the history subreddit. And he was responding to the question about 109. And this highlighted part here, the reason for anti-Jewish hatred and persecution has absolutely nothing to do with the things that Jewish men and women did, said, or thought. Okay, that is a position. By the way, it's entirely possible that that's true. It is entirely possible that that is true. But let's just flesh that out a little bit, okay? What you're saying is that throughout a span of thousands of years, wildly different people, cultures, countries, races, they all independently and spontaneously came up with this identical innate predisposition towards hating this one specific group of people. And that specific group of people did absolutely nothing whatsoever to any of those groups of people. Again, it's entirely possible. It is entirely possible. I'm not going to comment on how likely I find that to be, but it does lead to other questions. It leads to questions like, okay, if that is possible, then is it also possible that there is something in particular about Jewish culture which is alienating to other groups of people? Do they consider themselves to be, say, racially superior to other people? Do they have a word that they use to describe the 99.8% of the global population that isn't them? Does their culture orient around things like technical proficiency, loophole seeking? Do they operate really well within bureaucracies? Would that skill set give them unique opportunities to exploit the social contract? I don't know. Here's the thing. When you're looking back in history that far, it's really hard to draw hard conclusions about anything. I look back, 25 years at 9/11, and I still don't know what the fuck that was all about. So I'm going to stop talking about this before I get myself into any trouble, but I do find the position here, I do find this position to be suspect. I do find this position that this person is taking to be dubious. But in order for me to answer that question more fully, I'm going to want to do a video and really think this out and really process it. I'm not saying anything definitive right now. I'm not victim blaming. That isn't what's happening here. I'm just not sold on this position. That's it. Anyways, let's move on before I get into trouble. Okay. Hello, are you willing to share a list of book recommendations? I'm specifically interested in learning about the Khazars, I don't know how to fucking pronounce that, and the Crusades. However, I'm curious what your favorite books are. Okay, so I also want to learn more about the Khazars. I don't have a good recommendation for those topics in particular. Once I do, I will let you know. So I actually have, so most of my books are still packed up, unfortunately, but I did manage to find the books that I keep in my studio. So, let's see. Oh, this is a good one. So there's a lot of folks in my crew that are not, they're not sold on the whole anarchy thing. I highly recommend this book, The Anarchist Handbook by, organized by Michael Malice. Now I will say this, I'm not a big fan of Michael Malice. I find him to be a troll, and I think that he doesn't mind being called a troll. I think he kind of revels in that. So, you know, good for him. But I also find him to be a statist sometimes. I think that he has spoken in favor of Israel's right to defend itself, but not the Palestinians' right to defend themselves. So I think he's and he features or has interviews with explicit Zionists. So I'm not a big fan of him in particular, but I do think it's important to be able to divide the artist from the art. And this book is not primarily by him. He collected a series of articles and essays written by anarchists. That list right there. I don't know if you can see it. Hang on, I'm going to make this. I keep forgetting to do that. That list right there. It's a big list of different anarchists throughout history who've written. It's a great entry point if you'd like a wide range of different opinions on the subject of the state and how it's basically always the worst thing. I recommend that. Let's see. Oh, Hitchhiker's Guide, obviously. I feel like that one doesn't need any explanation. Ego and Archetype. If you're interested in Jungian archetype theory, this one actually was recommended to me by Jimmy Dore back in the day. So if you're interested in Jungian archetype theory, if you ever listen to Jimmy Dore go on his weird diatribes about Carl Jung and that shit, and you're interested in learning more about it, this is a good one for that. Ordinary Men. I mentioned this in a previous video. I actually mentioned this in the which one was that? The Synagogue of Satan video, the one that put me on the map. This book is very good. It's a very difficult read, but I do recommend that. What else we got? I've got 2 different copies of 12 Rules for Life back there. I know JP kind of went off the deep end there, but 12 Rules was very significant to me at that point in my life when he released it, as I think it was for a lot of young men. So, you know, again, dividing the art from the artist, I still find a lot of value in 12 Rules, and I would recommend it to just about anybody. Anywho's, let's move on. Besides the one-shot films, Warfare, Hereditary, Saving Private Ryan, Irreversible, Requiem for a Dream, what are your top 10 must-see cinematic films? And as a separate category, what non-fictional documentaries would you recommend? I actually am not a big fan of documentaries. I prefer to take in non-fiction via like audiobook. Oh, you know what? I could have pulled up my Audible to recommend other books, but anyway, whatever. Maybe I'll put out a list at some point. But I actually am not a big fan of visual documentaries. I prefer to listen as I'm working to take in nonfiction. But I'll give you 10 movies that I really like. Oh, I don't have this up on the screen. I'm so sorry, guys. Okay. So they asked about videos. So these are significant to me because I actually have tattoos of these videos. By the way, guys, I'm not married. I keep seeing that in the comments. This is not a wedding band. This is a reference to my favorite movie of all time, The Fountain. I hear that Daryl Cooper is a fan of The Fountain. Please be sure to let him know that until he gets a wedding band tattoo on his ring finger, he's a fucking poser. And and I am the real fan of The Fountain. Thank you very much. No, I love Daryl. Please don't say that to him. I'm actually a big fan of his. I would love to talk to him at some point, but he's a poser until he gets this. Donnie Darko. Hang on, it's going to be that kind of a stream, guys. Hang on. Oh God. Donnie Darko. Can I find a way to twist my arm? There you go. Donnie Darko. Memento. Hold on. How do I rotate myself? Memento. And Old Boy. Old Boy, not the fucking remake, the American one. That one is trash. The OG Korean Old Boy. Excellent movie. Very dark, very disturbing, very, very good. Highly recommend. And I include Adventure Time there because I do want to get an Adventure Time tattoo. I don't know if you could tell with my blade of grass and my ink iridium. I'm a big fan of Adventure Time, so I do want to get an Adventure Time tattoo. I just haven't settled on a design yet. What else have I got in here? Oh, hold on. Let me let Mamba back in. She's going to yell at me. Ugh. Okay, well. She yelled at me and then ran away. Like a hooker. Anyway, I talk so much shit to my cat. It's fine. Where was I going? Oh, yeah. Oh, next up. These are 5 other movies that I don't have tattoos of, but that I would still recommend. The Fall, if you're looking for cinematography, absolutely one of the most beautiful movies I've ever seen. Some of the most interesting cinematography I've ever seen. The transitions between shots is absolutely unparalleled. I think it is criminally underrated. Highly recommend The Fall. Stay, another criminally underrated movie. This one bombed in the box office, but it's got Ewan McGregor, Ryan Gosling, and Naomi Watts, and also oh God, what's his name? Hopkins. Are you back already? Oh my God, I'm gonna go let her in. Hang on. But criminally underrated movie. Kind of a weird. I'm not gonna give anything away. I would just recommend it. Dead Alive. Okay, this one is either Dead Alive or Brain Dead, depending on if you get the New Zealand release or the American release. This is by Peter Jackson. Yes, that Peter Jackson, the guy that did Lord of the Rings. And this movie held the record for over 2 decades for the most fake blood used on set until I think, what was it? Piranha 3D or some shit like that. Anyway, but it is amazing. Not to spoil too much about it, but the scene that gave it that award for the most fake blood used involved a push mower strapped to somebody's arm like a shield. Okay, so just let the spirit move you. If you like horror, if you like body horror, if you like really, really campy horror, go give that one a watch. Again, Dead Alive or Brain Dead. And try to get through the first half. It's a slow burn. The first half is rough, but the second half is amazing. It's so good. Anyway, It's a Wonderful Life. I know it's cliche. I adore that movie. I watch it every year. And every year that I watch it, I love it just a little bit more. Yeah, it's a really interesting deconstruction of A Christmas Carol. If you're not aware, I may do a video on that at some point. But it's like if you took Christmas Carol and then inverted it inside out to make It's a Wonderful Life. It's I love that movie. And then Cabin in the Woods, obligatory. Like if you can't tell, I'm a horror fan, but it's one of the best horror movies ever made. I wasn't allowed to pick Hereditary because I already picked that in another thing, but Cabin in the Woods is a solid backup. Anyways, let's move on. If I had the chance to choose 2 podcasters to interview, who would they be? Why? And what would you want to know the most? Not Clint or Ian. Well, why not Ian? What? Hold on. Why am I not allowed to talk to? I'll have you know, I very much want to talk to Ian Carroll and say thank you for single-handedly launching my channel past 100K subscribers overnight. Like he was just like, hey, I like this guy. And there you go. So no, I very much would love to talk to Ian at some point. I had a bunch of different people ask this. That's why there's 3 different iterations of it on the screen. Okay, so if I had to choose people to talk to or interview, by the way, they said dead or alive, so that can, so I can pick other people as well. Let me think. I'm actually due to be interviewed by one Benjamin Boyce. He has a YouTube channel, and he was a student at Evergreen. Oh, excuse me. He was a student at Evergreen back when it blew up, or I think he might have been an alumni back when it blew up and Brett Weinstein had his whole thing at Evergreen. But anyway, he invited me to interview. We were going to do it this week, but apparently his granddaughter was born this week. So I was like, yeah, dude, go go be with your family, bro. So I'll be talking to him. I am also going to talk to Clint again. We're already kind of talking about doing another interview. I'm going to interview him this time. I really want to talk to him about libertarianism and anarchism and just kind of pick his brain about a few things in particular. I'd really love to talk to Murray Rothbard. He's a kind of a personal hero of mine, but I'd really love to talk to him about being an anti-Zionist Jewish anarcho-libertarian and just kind of how do you fit all of that into a cohesive worldview, because that's really interesting to me. I'd also really love to ask him about flock cameras. I think that there's a really interesting debate to be had from a libertarian perspective about flock cameras, because technically speaking, you know, libertarians, and this is where I part ways with a lot of libertarians, is that they have this blind spot when it comes to private industry. And they say, oh, well, if it's private, then literally whatever they do is fine because market forces, you know, as if private industry is immune from gaining monopolistic totalitarian power and abusing the individual civil liberties of people. Like, obviously that isn't true. So this is why I lean more towards anarchism, because I think that any form of centralized power should be opposed and treated with suspicion and hostility on principle, even if it comes from the private sector. So I'd love to pick his brain about that, because I want him specifically to answer that question for me. Beyond that, Brett Weinstein, I would love to talk. Apparently I've reached a point now where I can just kind of say people's name and then they appear in my email inbox and I get to have a conversation with them. So man, I would love to talk to Brett. I would love to talk to Brett Weinstein and ask him in particular about Israel, because I don't think that he's ever come out and been vocally anti-Zionist. And I can appreciate why. Like, look, if you're a Jewish person and you have Jewish family, I'm willing to extend to you a certain amount of latitude as far as like not wanting to alienate your entire family by being. I'm not. Look, I'm just saying there's a sacrifice to be made there, and I want to meet people where they are. But I would love to talk to him about that. I would love to talk to him about his relationship with the Jewish identity. I feel like he is I know he's a secular Jew, like he's not religiously Jewish, but I would love to know, like, what is your relationship with the Jewish identity? How do you perceive the Jewish identity? How do you perceive Jewish culture? What is your relationship with it? Because he has spoken out against Israel. He was very quick to say that October 7th was very fishy. He interviewed somebody in, I think, in the Israeli military, like a whistleblower, shortly after October 7th. But I would really love to drill in and find out, like, what is your opinion on this? But also, I just love to talk to him because he's been a personal hero of mine ever since Evergreen. So anyway, yeah. So those are, I think that's enough. I think I've given enough people. What's up with the Indian APAC? Is Big Goy Paloy in the chat? Where are you at, bud? Are you in here? I think I saw you earlier. Throw out a chat if you're here. Anyway, this lovely human being who I have been who has been asking me for literal months now to talk about the Indian APAC. So I'll admit I don't really know too much about the Indian APAC, but I did look up their website and it is really friggin' weird. So I assume that this is the organization that he's talking about. And from what I can tell, this is an Indian advocacy organization that advocates for Indian, I don't know. I need to look more into it, but I got as far as looking at their website, and they have some of the, I hate to be mean, but some of the cringiest, weirdest photos on this website. I don't know what to make of it. I hate to, like, not even just where was it? It's a really weird website. I don't know what to look about. Oh, hey, did you have a particular question about, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to misgender you. I apologize. Of course I would do that. I'm so sorry. Although to be fair, you have a very cute puppy dog as your profile picture. So I think I might get away with that. So did you have a particular question about the Indian APAC here? They certainly have a lot of pictures of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris on their website. I don't know what to make of that. like a lot. Like at every opportunity, they have a fucking picture of Joe Biden. And God, this is an old picture of Joe. This is back before he lobotomized himself. Most people think you're a black gay man. Well, that's all right. Yeah. So maybe I'll look more into it and do a whole video on it. I just didn't find that much that was that interesting about it. So I just wanted you to know that I got your question, and I do. I will follow up on it at some point. Hold on, I do so. What is my favorite whiskey? Obviously, it's Bullet Rye. I have you. Silver to the moon, not financial advice, of course. I'm not even going to touch that. I will say I am holding a fair amount of silver, but I'm not gonna touch on that just yet. Okay, you know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pause on these questions and I'm gonna go through these super chats real quick. Okay, let me. How do I do that? I need to go to the There we go. Comments, and then starred. Nice. Okay, cool. All right, I can do this now. Let me go through here. So first of all, thank you for the new memberships. Wow, holy cow. Have you looked into the Charlie Kirk assassination theories? There's something there. Check out Baron Coleman's first live stream. Go Brown okay, I think it's Go Browns TD54, but I swear to God, it looks like Go Brown STD. Like, tell me, guy, chat, tell me that doesn't look like Go Brown STD. Tell me that it doesn't. I dare you. Anyway, I touched base a little bit on Charlie Kirk earlier, so yeah, I don't have strong feelings about Charlie Kirk. I mean, I have a feeling, I have an inclination that it was probably Israel, and probably the U.S. government was involved in covering it up. But beyond that, I really don't know. I've not looked into it as much as Clint and Barron and all of these other people. So they're the experts on it. I'm going to let them do their thing. I watch all of them. I haven't researched it myself enough to have a comment on it. My hair is doing something weird. Anyway, what else do we got in here? What do you think about the Shiloh Hendricks guilty verdict? That is a good question too. Let me see. Let me see if I can find something about that. Oh, this lady. This lady, she was found guilty of what? Hang on. Where do I go here? I guess I'll go to a local one. Fined $1,000 and sentenced to community service for disorderly conduct. Oh my God, guys! Okay, I watch. Hang on, let me pull this back up here. This woman, the blonde chick that yelled racial slurs at a black child, a black autistic child, was found guilty of disorderly conduct and fined $1,000, stayed a 90-day jail sentence, ordered to perform 200 hours of community service. Okay. So I am a free speech absolutist, is where I come down on this. I think that if you say words with your mouth, the way in which disorderly conduct has been weaponized in this country to empower cops to punish people for just behaving in ways that they don't like. I watch a lot of body cam footage, guys. I haven't talked about this yet, but I watch a metric ton of body cam footage all the time. I don't know why. I just got addicted to it at some point. I have them on in the background when I'm doing video work or researching subjects. It's soothing, you know. It's like having white noise on in the background, just like random gunshots and people screaming. And I don't know. I'm there's something wrong with me. But anyway, disorderly conduct has been weaponized in this country to enable policemen to violate civil liberties, including freedom of speech, to an extent that I find to be pretty grotesque. So that's my take on it. Like, would I have done what she did? No. But I fall back on free speech absolutists. You should be able to say or yell whatever you want. Generally, the bar should have to be significantly higher before I think any kind of criminal or Anything like that should, especially in a public space. She was at a playground. She's in a public space. Like, I could see it in a private residence or a private business, but she's literally paying taxes to be where she is. She should be allowed to say whatever she wants. Anyway, that's I'll move on from that. What else do we got here? Close that. Oh, wait, hold on. I don't know how to run this thing, guys. I'm sorry. Laughing disco. I don't know what that means. Oh, people are sending emojis. Okay, I see. Hello, Mr. Q. Hope you're well. And house move going smooth. We're staying up to the house move is going smooth. Thank you very much for that. We're mostly done. This weekend is going to be a whole nightmare. But it is getting there. We're going to be done. We have to be done by the 31st. So it is going to happen. What else do we got here? Have you ever seen Wally Rashid on YouTube? You should collab with him. He has family and our greatest ally. YouTube wouldn't allow you to say, really? Well, that's interesting. Huh. I have heard of him. People have recommended him to me. But I've not reached out. I don't know. Go blow up his channel. Let him know I'd like to talk to him. I don't want to say that. I don't know anything about this person, but yeah, potentially. Yes. I'll add it to my list. I'll reach out maybe. You seem like a great guy. You produce incredible content. Making the content in the realm that you do is easy to get pulled into currents that hope to wear you away. Keep your center. I appreciate that. Oh, Mamba managed to break in. Hey, baby. Come here. You're just going to stay there and yell at me? She's going to stay there and yell at me. Okay. I appreciate that. And thank you for the $10. I'm living my best fucking life right now. I don't know if you guys, I am an extremely disagreeable person. For those that don't know, the Big Five personality test, disagreeableness is basically like how likely you are to be confrontational with people that you find that you don't respect. I have taken the Big Five twice, and both times I scored in the 0 to 5 percentile range for agreeableness. Like I am exceptionally disagreeable. So I'm actually, other than the Israeli war crimes video, which really did take a lot out of me, and is why I know I need to go back and do another one on Gaza after October 7th, but like that was rough. But I appreciate it, and I am keeping my center. Thank you. What do we got in here? Please stop being so interesting. Oh, that's very kind of you. Thank you. What else do we got here? The International No-Hide Congress is bigger than 9/11. I'm not sure what that is. I'll write that down and I'll look into it though. Thank you for the 9/11. Thank you for the 9/11. Appreciate you. Where did you get somebody got it? Where did you get your "Don't Be a Bundle of Sticks" t-shirt from? That one was also from Forbidden. What is it called again? It's the same company that I recommended for the false flags. Forbidden Clothes. Yeah. I'll if I remember, I'll add a link to it. But if you just go to Forbidden Clothes, I'm not even gonna affiliate link that one because but for those that don't know, it was a shirt that I wore in the video that I put out this morning. It says "Don't be a bundle of sticks," and my favorite thing about that shirt is that you have to be functionally like literate and aware of there's a threshold of historical literacy you have to pass over to realize how horribly offensive that shirt is. I've yet to have anyone get the joke in public, but maybe someday, maybe someday. What do we got here? $5. How long have you? No comment. Thank you for having balls larger than all of Greater Israel. My wife and enjoy every video you drop. That's very kind. I'm not brave. I appreciate I do have big balls, but I'm not brave. I'm not brave. I'm just doing my thing. I appreciate it though. Let's see. Okay, how far? I'm about halfway through the super, so I want to go back to the questions because I want to make sure I get through those. But let me read a couple more here. What accounts for your stage presence? What's the story behind? Okay, I'm going to talk about stage presence later, so I'll hold off on that. But the story behind the stuff on my shelf,
the Care Bear in particular, I dealt with a very severe bout of depression. This would have been about 7 years ago now, and a friend of mine gave me that, and very dear friend of mine, and I've held on to it since then. I came down with the ailment of having lived in Ohio for about 2 months, or no, sorry, about a year, and I came down with depression, as one does in Ohio, because anyway, but that was a present from a friend of mine. But I will answer the other half of your question later on. Okay, I need to, let's see. Okay, so I'm going to hide that one and then unstart so I know where I was. Okay, back to the questions. Let's see. What's up, the ending back? Given the banks funded all sides in most wars in the last few hundred years or so, do you think the ruling elites are the banks, or that they are one step removed and answer to someone higher? The banks may print the money, but they do it by royal decree in countries with monarchy. Who would you guess to be the top 5 influential people in the world? Okay. I would guess that the top 5 influential people are people that you've never heard of and never will. And I think that this is important because we get caught up in these polarizing figures like Trump or Bibi or Epstein. And I feel like those figures are put into the public eye on purpose to draw our attention to them. And so that you'll be mad at them as individuals instead of mad at the systems that they represent, if that makes sense. So there's this idea of the great man theory in history, or it's a way that we used to interpret history as, you know, history is primarily shaped by individual people with extraordinary characteristics, basically. You could look at like Napoleon and Alexander the Great and things like that. And maybe it's true to some extent. I think that to some extent there are great men or evil men throughout history that have a profound impact on history, a very singular effect on history. But I think that now, especially thanks to modernity and bureaucracy, there are also systems that exist, and systems that perpetuate themselves without any particular individual at the helm. You've heard of the term self-licking ice cream cone, which is where a system, a bureaucracy, gains enough power to where it can, through force or coercion, perpetuate its own existence and find reasons to legitimize its own existence. And if you think of it as an organism, like, it makes sense that that would be a thing that would be selected for. But the thing now is, you know, whatever you want to call that thing, whether you want to call it the military industrial complex, the deep state, Zionism, whatever it is, these systems exist for the purpose of perpetuating their own existence. And once they become powerful enough, not only do they not require great men at the helm, or great women, whatever, just great people at the helm to perpetuate them, but in fact, they will destroy any great men who try to stop them, which is what happened to JFK, which is probably what happened to Charlie Kirk, which is probably what will happen to Thomas Massey if he decides to run. And I hate to say that, I hate to put that out into the world, but if Thomas Massey is legit, and at this point I've given up all hope that anyone is legit, but if he is legit and he does run for president, we have to deal with the systems behind the people. So anyway, I don't want to like dismiss the spirit of your question. I think is a good one, which is, you know, who should we be focusing our ire on? And I don't think that it's an individual, because I think that the individuals that are actually running the show are people that you've never heard of and never will. And so it's more about the system, which means it's more about a collective action problem. How do we overthrow the system? How do we disrupt a system as large as Zionism is? And that's a good question, one that I'm actively trying to figure out. So I hope that answers your question. Let's see. Guys, real quick, before I get to this question, Mamba opened the door when she came in, so I'm going to close that so I'm not bothering my roommates too much. 1 second. Just give me a sec. Okay.
I lied. I peed. So even Mossad agents have to pee every now and again. Okay.
Do you think losing one's faith leads to sinking into fear? If yes, do you think abandoning God is the root of all problems of the world today? It's a good question. So obviously the first thing that comes to mind is Nietzsche. The death of God that he talked about was not celebratory. Like, he wasn't reveling in the fact that we had killed God. He was lamenting that fact, because I think that human beings, how do I want to put this? Somebody in my comments mentioned the self-identification of agnostic Christian. And I really liked it, because to me, when I hear that, an agnostic is one that is not so much concerned with being 100% sure about the literal factual truth of a thing, but they still believe in it because they recognize that it lends to them benefits. And I like that. My biggest issue with the Bible is trying to figure out which parts of it to interpret literally. Right? The Old Testament in particular is grotesque. And all of the Christians that I talk to tell me that if I don't at least acknowledge that the Old Testament is a legitimate representation of a all-powerful and all-loving God, then I'm not doing it right. Okay, well, then I'm not doing it right, I guess. So I'm less concerned with the literal truth of the Bible than I am what Christ represents to me and how my life goes when I believe in him. And when I adopt the principles that he espouses, the Beatitudes, the Sermon on the Mount, when I treat other people the way that Christ wants me to treat them, my life is amazing. And I have surrounded myself with other people who feel the same way, who behave in a very Christ-like way. So when it comes to this question, so let me pull it back up real quick, because I think I'm getting a little far afield on it. Do you think losing one's faith leads to sinking into fear? Yeah, I think that that is probably an inevitable destination to begin with. I know that when I originally lost my faith, I became a deep nihilistic atheist for the better part of a decade. And I actually got into some legal trouble because I had convinced myself that morality is based on whatever I as an organism can get away with. And so I got in trouble. I'll talk about this at some point in a video. I'm not ashamed of it. Like, I had 6 felonies on my record by the time I was 20. Nothing violent, but still. And for me, I think it was fear, but also anger. So I don't think that fear is the inevitable outcome of losing one's faith. I think you can also end up just angry or disillusioned or not feel anything at all. To the second part of your question, do you think abandoning God is the root of all the problems of the world today? No, I think that, well, I guess that depends on what you mean by it, because I very much subscribe to the notion of, Christ said that the kingdom of heaven is within you. And so if what you mean by that is, do I think that abandoning the idea of a higher power or being beholden to some higher moral authority is the root of all the problems of the world today? I think it's probably a big part of it. Yeah. I don't know that it's the totality of the issue, but I think it's a big part of it. Yeah. And I think that just from my own N=1 personal experience, my life got a whole lot better when I came back to faith on my own terms, and I stopped letting other people tell me the right or wrong way to pursue God. And when I did that, I found that I was able to find other people, even people that don't call God by the same name that I call God, even Muslims, even agnostics, with whom I find Christ-like characteristics and that I can align myself with morally. So I don't know. It's a good question. I should probably do a a video on faith at some point. But anyway, I hope that answers your question. You don't have that many videos up yet, but it feels like you hit the ground running with a surprising amount of polish and flair. Even your speaking voice is dynamic and very natural on camera. What's the origin story there? Do you have a background in speech, theater, broadcasting, or video production, or is there just a whole lot of practice on earlier videos that just aren't public? Okay, so folks have asked me this a lot before, and obviously it's very flattering. It's very kind of you to say that. I don't have any formal training when it comes to this. I was a theater kid in high school. That's about it. I did have another channel before this one, but it was very short-lived, and I think I only made it up to like 3,000 subscribers or something like that. So that gave me some amount of practice, but I've actually, since the last time somebody asked me this, I've actually come up with a better answer for you. So I was recently listening to a podcast that was talking about like the process of video and audio editing. And the theme of the episode was how to make editing more enjoyable. Because apparently, and I didn't know this before listening to this podcast, a lot of content creators really hate editing video and audio. Well, I have whatever flavor of weaponized autism there is, that I really love video editing. I love it. I could spend all day, every day doing video editing, and I would be just over the moon. And I like being on camera too. I also have a penchant for public speaking, and that doesn't hurt. But I'll give you an example. I actually pulled this up. Let me pause the music real quick. How do I do that? Here we go. Here, I'm going to show you something. Oh, wait, hang on. So what I'm going to play for you here, this is a clip from the video that I put out this morning. And what I knew that I wanted to do here was I knew that I wanted to visually portray the slow decline of monetary value in America, in particular from the 50s through the present day, as we were, unpegged from the gold standard and started money printing ourselves into oblivion, which is the source of a lot of the problems we see today. I knew what I wanted to do was I wanted to show the different decades. I wanted to show the 50s, 60s, 70s, and then onward. And while I was doing it, I wanted to have "We're in the Money," that old school da 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 da. I wanted to have that playing in the background as just kind of a bed while I'm doing my voiceover. But I wanted the song to become more slowed down and distorted as it went through. And so I spent, I kid you not, an hour and a half learning how to do this in DaVinci. I spent an hour and a half just locked in on how to do this particular thing within the limitations of DaVinci. And then I did it. And even now I'm going to play it for you, but it still isn't as good as I want it to be. I hope you guys can hear that. Anyway, so that's it. That's the thing. I hope the audio came through, but the idea was that I spent so much time on a 15-second clip just because I really wanted it to be just so, and I get the impression that a lot of content creators would just not. Like, there's a lot of content creators that would look at that and say, ugh, I got to learn how to do this thing. I got to spend an hour and a half learning how to slow down this one track in a weird way. Like, no, I'm just going to do something easier. I'm just going to, people can't play your clips with music, right? Oh, no, that one's public domain. That's an old fucking song. Anyway, I spent an hour and a half learning how to do that, and I think that a lot of content creators would not. So that, I hope that answers your question as to like what is it that what is it about me that helps me to pick up the stuff quickly? I think that might be it. I have weaponized autism in that particular regard. this tricky little bugger sent in 7 questions, and to be fair, it's only because I told them to do it, but I'm gonna narrow it down to 3. So you live with the dancing Israelis. Yes, they, for whatever reason, they stay in the floorboards. I don't know why. They're just kind of more comfortable there. What games do you play? Right now, I am absolutely fixated on Slay the Spire 2. I have hit Ascension 10 on 3 characters. I'm still working on Ironclad and whatever the weird new guy is that has the 2 different types of energy currency. I can't remember his name. The royalty guy. Anyway, I'm working through that. So that's what I'm kind of fixated on right now. What choices in your life made you to end up here? I've talked about a lot of them already, but I think that at some point I just kind of decided, because I've dreamed about doing something like this for, over 15 years. And I watched my father, who, is a musician, just kind of not ever. Anyway, that's a painful memory, but basically I decided that I never wanted to, I would rather regret failure than having never tried. And I know that that's really cliche, but I really think that that's what it came down to, is I decided I would rather fall flat on my face when it came to video creation than I would like for my life to play out like it did for my father, where I just kind of like it just kind of never happened. So anyway, what do you feel is the most effective way to normalize rational thinking and intellectual honesty, especially in our workplaces? I find myself often in the company of retirement. Oh, I don't have the fucking question. I'm so sorry. I'm really bad at this, guys. I find myself often in the company of retirement age folks who are pretty entrenched in a worldview that I just can't believe has survived the sunlight of the modern age. Essentially, how do we deal with these fucking olds? I really love your question. And I think it's a good question. Okay, so I definitely struggled with being in a workplace and being forced to interact with people that I considered morons. So my solution was to quit my job and become a small business owner. So I don't know if that necessarily would work for you, but I think the first question to ask is the person that you're trying to engage with acting in good faith? Like, are they actually interested in seeking truth, or are they just trying to win an argument or browbeat you with their version of reality? Because if it's the latter, well, then you have to ask yourself, do I even want to engage with that? I will engage with people that are not operating in good faith. It's not my favorite thing to do, but I will do it. But you kind of have to decide, like, is that a non-starter for you? Do you want to engage with people that are acting in bad faith? If not, then just don't do it. But if you do engage with people that are acting in bad faith, then try to view the interaction not as an opportunity to win, but as an opportunity to improve your rhetoric. It doesn't mean that it won't be frustrating, but it does mean that you can polish your toolkit of persuasion. You can try new things. You can try approaching things from a different angle. I find that is a more rewarding experience when you're engaging with someone who is actually interested in learning and growing and seeking truth. But you can still have conversations with people that you disagree with and that you have no hope of changing their mind if you approach it from the purpose of building your toolkit and becoming better at persuasion. So, I have arguments with my dad pretty frequently. I have no hope of convincing him of my anti-Zionist worldview. He is diehard pro-Zionist, but I still talk to him because it gives me an opportunity to try out new approaches. Like, have you ever heard of Dear Yusen? Have you ever heard of all of these horrible war crimes that happened? The Nakba? Have you ever heard of the Nakba? So, beyond that, I think it really depends on what kind of worldview you're talking about. If it's a political disagreement, I think that's going to be easier than like a religious disagreement, but I do think that there are a lot of people walking around on this planet with completely unexamined worldviews. And old people have just had the benefit of having them a lot longer, and they mistake longevity for validity. So, old people are some of the most frustrating people to argue with. But an open-minded, old, wise person, holy shit, that's some of the best stuff right there. it is very hard to be part of the same book club if you're reading different books. In other words, it's hard to come to a shared understanding of reality if you're getting your information from different sources. So maybe start sharing your sources, maybe start giving them the books you're reading, the podcasts you're listening to, the YouTube channels you're watching. Maybe that would be a good entry point. I don't know. It's difficult. It's kind of that's a tough question. So I think it kind of depends on the situation, honestly. Scientology is alive and well. In fact, they have one of their largest bases in Clearwater, Florida. Has been trailblazing with a lot of great legislation under DeSantis, a lot of child trafficking rings busted under AG Uthmeier. However, Scientology manages to stay off the radar and still thrives here. Thoughts on why Scientology is still not being seen for what it is, a cult? Probably because they're not bombing anybody. Like I think that would be my guess. I'll admit I'm not super familiar with Scientology. I mean, beyond, I think that one South Park episode that everyone's seen, like that's about my only exposure. I know more about Mormonism than I do Scientology. But probably because they're not starting any world wars or bombing anybody. Yeah, it doesn't surprise. I think you mentioned that they have a child trafficking ring. Yeah, I mean, it just seems like that's kind of the threshold for, has your multinational corporate organization made it? Are you truly a successful organization? The dividing line there is, have you engaged in a child trafficking ring? Like, is that's where we're at this point. It's like fucking the only threshold that matters anymore is, if you're big and powerful enough to have a secret child trafficking ring under your church, for Christ's sake. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. That is a good question. I don't really know that much about Scientology. Oh wow, holy cow. Those are all the questions I picked out. Okay, great. Guys, I had 400 questions sent in, and I picked out 20, or somewhere between like 18 and 22 I picked out. So because I figured this would take, where are we at right now? I don't even know how long I've been doing this. I don't know how to tell. I don't know what's going on. Oh, an hour and a half. Yeah, that's about right. I figured it would take me about an hour to get through that. But those are all the questions that I picked out. If you sent in a question and I didn't get to it, I apologize. Like, I have to be very choosy, and I try to pick questions that a lot of different people have asked. But let me get to these supers real quick. The comments. Okay, here we go. Yep. Duchess of Camelot. Forgive me if you covered this. I got here late. What are your thoughts of Section 219? Yeah, I did talk about that a little bit. But just to reiterate, in case you weren't here for it, merging the United States military and the Israeli military is basically just maintaining the status quo and taking it out of the public eye, which to me, again, I think is a good thing, because it indicates that they still somewhat care about us and what our opinion is, which is, again, in defiance of what I expect the status quo to be. I expect them to not give any shits, which is why they're bombing Iran right now, even though it's like a 70 to 80% disapproval rate. So I think it's weird that they're doing it, because why would you when the status quo is working just fine? So I don't know. I have yet to hear anyone present me with a reason why this is anything new, really, when it comes down to it, because we're already fighting a goddamn war on behalf of Israel. So how much more influence over our military could they possibly have, I guess, is my position. But I'm open to people explaining to me why this is so meaningfully different, other than the fact that it's being taken out of the public eye. They're putting it into the DOD and the Pentagon, which are very opaque as far as their funding. So if there's more to it than that, hopefully someone will let me know, because I don't want to spread ignorance and I don't want to dismiss people's concerns. I just don't understand the concerns, I guess, is my point. What do we got? The setup began in the 1850s and the fall happened. Yep. Yes, I agree with that. Thank you for the $5. I appreciate that.
Ramala, I appreciate you too. Thank you for the $10. It's very sweet of you. Yeah, that was a great experience. I hope to be able to talk about it more at some point, but again, the person that hosted me there wants to remain anonymous because they have family, I think, in the West Bank. So I'm just going to withhold on that. Love your work. What are your thoughts on D. Cooper's Fear and Loathing in the New Jerusalem series? I think it's really helpful perspective-wise. Growing up Orthodox, I was ahead of the curve on this issue. Yeah, it's an excellent series. I need to go back and listen to it again. I listened to it when he first released it, it's been a minute now, I think. When did he put that out? Fear and Loathing in New Jerusalem. When did it come out? Well, 5 years ago is the earliest timestamp I see. So yeah, I think I listened to it before my greater awakening into Zionism. I should go back and read. I should go back and listen to it again. I love Cooper. I really do. I think he is fantastic. So I think that he was very maligned with his this idea that we should be critical of all historical accounts, especially our foundational historical accounts like World War II. And I think that, the Streisand effect is a thing when you criticize people, when you punch down at people who are asking very legitimate questions about history that is very important and a foundational myth in this country, that should be more respected than it is. And the same is true for 9/11. Like, I think that 9/11 is such a foundational myth, such a core myth, explaining why we behave the way that we do in the West, that obviously it should be questioned. Obviously we should push back on it, especially when we are literally murdering millions of people over it. Anyway, I should go back and listen to it again. It's a very good series. I just have to find the time. Let's see here. Advertisement: a membership to this channel is only $1 a month with the first month free. Can I keep that price when you get huge? Yeah. Oh, so apparently, guys, YouTube rolled out a 1 month trial feature for membership, which I think is awesome. So if you're here right now, I think I have not been able to figure out how it works. I think they just rolled it out like a day or two ago, or I just wasn't aware of it. But apparently, you can sign up for a month for free. You can sign up for a month on my channel for a month for free, and then you can go and look at those members only videos if you want to. I would hope that, maybe after the month you would stick around, but like, yeah, apparently that is a thing you can do. So you should go do that. And yes, you can keep that price, guys. Here's a commitment that I'm making to all of you right now. I will always have a $1 membership level, which will get you access to, whatever, like right now it's early access to the videos. I usually put out the videos a day or two early for channel members so they can get in and watch it and comment and stuff. And also all of my members only content will always be available at the cheapest membership level. The only reason why that level will ever be more than $1 is if YouTube raises the prices on their end. I literally can't make it cheaper than $1. So this is my commitment to you, is that I don't want, like, I want people to have some amount of buy-in, and I am trying to earn a living doing this, but it isn't about the money for me. And I do want people to have access to the entire channel at all times, or to the greatest extent possible. So anyway, that is my commitment to you. I will always have a very, 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 very inexpensive membership level, always, forever and ever. And the only reason it would ever go up is if YouTube changes the prices. So anyway, $2. My book recommendation, The Dictator's Handbook. I don't know this book. I'm going to write it down. So I cannot vouch for it, but Michael Edwards is an OG fan, so I will take their recommendation as it is given, and yeah, go check it out maybe. Section 219. If it passes now, they will launder our tax dollars through the Pentagon with no voting. Yes, right. So Bibi has been saying for a minute now that he wants to change the relationship between Israel and the United States and have it less welfare and more partnership.
which, I had Zionists throwing this in my face whenever I would bring up the fact that Israel is a welfare state. And then they would always be like, oh no, but Bibi has said that he wants to cut off all that funding. I'm like, why would he do that? That doesn't make any sense. And this is the answer. This is the answer right here, is because they want to make it a partnership, whatever that means. And they're probably going to get the same amount of funding or even more funding. It's just going to be taken out of the public eye. So, but again, I see that as the status quo. So, what is this? $2 for no message. Okay. Well, I would have read a comment, so I appreciate you. Thank you very much. If you build your mind on the idea of being the chosen people for 2,000 years, then I'm guessing you already have an ethnocentric mentality, probably. Yeah. Right. If you go back and read the Old Testament, guys, and again, the Old Testament is just part of their holy books. Apparently, the Talmud is even worse. I haven't done a deep dive on the Talmud yet, but if you go back and read the Old Testament, it's very explicitly racial supremacy. Like, it is very like, this is how we treat members of our race, and this is how we treat members of every other race. It's perfectly okay to take slaves and enact usury and just generally be shitty to anyone that isn't a Jew. But as far as we're concerned, we have in-group preference, which, by the way, they're not the only ones in history to have an in-group racial preference. That isn't a problem. The problem is when you take that mentality and then you teleport it forward into the 21st century, and then you give them a blank check as far as military and political power and also nukes. That's when it becomes a problem. The things that Israel is doing today, if you look back in the Old Testament, it's like, yeah, that checks out. So you just took the Israelites from the Old Testament and teleported them 2,000, 3,000 years into the future and gave them a military. What did you expect to happen? So anyway, yeah. Oh, 6-7. Look at you. Look at you. I'm not even gonna. It's fine. $2. Memento. Yes, very good movie. It's for me. I don't know if you could read the quote, but the quote is one of the tattoos on his arm, and it says, "Consider the source memory as treachery," which I just love. I have a horrible memory. I don't know if you could tell, but like, I'm pretty good with like narratives and archetypes and like movie critique and things like that, which is why I'm able to apply it to like larger socio-political stuff. But when it comes to like remembering like what I had for breakfast this morning or appointments that I have, so for me, that quote is very poignant. Remember, or consider the source memory is treachery. I love that movie. It's a very good movie. Oh, what do we got here? Big Oi Poloi. I'm so sorry I called you a man. I apologize. You have a very cute puppy dog, though. What do we got? Silver to the moon. Oh, I already asked this one. Yeah, no financial advice. I am holding silver. I am holding gold. I'm not going to say how much, but I bought both when they were very cheap compared to where they are now. Even now, like, even though they've come down, like, I think gold was over 6 at its peak, and it's now hovering around. It's around 4 now. I think I haven't looked at it for a minute, but even now, even where the price is now, I got a very good price. So I'm holding on to it. That's very much a long-term savings account kind of thing. But yeah. But real quick on that. If silver goes to the moon, if gold goes to the moon, then we are in deep shit. Okay. So like, I just want to point that out. Like, yeah, that's great. Like, if, guys, I don't want my gold and silver to go to the moon, because if that happens, that means that all of my paper money is worthless. Like, that is not a good situation that we're in. If that happens, that is probably global economic collapse territory that we're talking about. So anyway, just silver to the moon, sure, but like, we're gonna have big problems if that's the case. Oh yeah, I gave you the video. Will Sexton, their goal is to be like APAC. They are why Europe has to in specific amount. Okay. You sent me the video. Oh, hon, where did you send me the video? Okay. I feel bad because this was supposed to be the make good, because I didn't get to this person's question about this the last time I did a Q&A. Okay. How about this? I will do an entire video This is my final attempt at a make good, is that I will do an entire video on the Indian APAC at some point. Okay. It will probably be the most racially insensitive video I've ever done. Oh man, because we'll be talking about Jewish people and Indian people at the same time. That's going to be rowdy. Anyway, all right. Well, I guess we'll burn that bridge when we get to it. But man, I'm so sorry. I'll make good on top of a make good on top of a make good. Mea culpa. I apologize. I will fix this. Sazerac Rye. Okay. All right. Guys, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Okay. Well, no, am I gonna do that? I don't know if I should do that actually. Okay. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Bullet Rye is my favorite whiskey, by the way, but I don't really drink that much anymore. And I was kind of debating on this because I feel like I've gotten a lot of people commenting in the like making comments that are like cautioning me against being an alcoholic, or even saying, hey, you shouldn't, we know you're being funny, but you shouldn't promote alcohol or alcoholism on your channel because it's irresponsible, because there's a lot of people that struggle with that. Fair enough. I have alcoholics in my family. I can appreciate that. So I'm going to come clean on something. That bottle of Bullet Rye right there that I've used in the intro of some of my videos where I would take a swig of whiskey. It wasn't whiskey. It was tea. I kind of don't drink anymore. And so I was just trying to be funny. Like I was doing it for effect. And my justification was, well, that's what they do in Hollywood, right? They're not actually drinking alcoholic drinks on set. They're drinking mocktails just for theatrical effect. But every time I've had whiskey out of that bottle, it has not been whiskey. And, you know, the more that I've thought about it, the more I'm uncomfortable with being dishonest about something like that. So, and if you take offense at the fact that I was kind of deceitful about it in the first place, and I do apologize, but at the end of the day, like I would much rather not encourage things like alcoholism. I'm not an alcoholic. I do still drink whiskey from time to time at social events and things like that. But, you know, I do recognize that it is fucking poison and that it's not good for you. So anyway, I wasn't planning on revealing that to everybody, but having had time to think on it, and, you know, if I want to be in integrity, I don't think it's okay to, especially if I'm not an alcoholic, to make jokes about being an alcoholic and to promote it as a coping mechanism for difficult subjects or difficult ideas. That I'm not okay with. So anyway, not to make a huge deal out of it, but anyway, yeah, I hope that everyone can appreciate where I'm coming from with that. I hope that nobody is super upset about the fact that I told a fib, and I apologize. I was just trying to be funny on camera. So anyway, I guess we'll find out if that ends up being a big problem at some point. I'm sure somebody will let me know. Send me a nasty email, leave me a comment. What is the meaning of the symbol on your chest, and what does your arm say in the video with the puny gun with the puny gun collection? Okay, so this how do I get it on camera here? This is the ancient Aramaic name of God. A lot of people saw this symbol, I think, one of the symbols here, and assumed that it was a Nazi emblem or something like that. I had never even known that was a thing before people pointed it out. This is the ancient Aramaic name for God. The reason that I have this is because I used to be really into tarot cards, and my favorite card of the tarot was the Fool. And in esoteric tradition, the Fool has the name of God stitched into his collar. And you know, I'm not much into the tarot anymore. I still think it's an interesting tool for exploring archetype theory and things like that, but you know, it also has a lot of kind of heavy esoteric connotations to it, so I kind of moved away from it. But I still like this. I still like this tattoo, and I like the Fool and what the Fool represents, just in as much as it's someone who is stepping off of stable ground and into the unknown. It's a reminder to always be willing to take a leap of faith and to be ready to abandon everything that you have in life. It's kind of like the poem "If" that I have in my background. I still have it packed up. I'll need to get it. But if you can, oh man, I'm gonna pull it up right now. Hang on, because I don't know it by heart as much as I should. It's "If" by Rudyard Kipling. If you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken, and stoop and build them up with worn out tools, if you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it all on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss. That is what that card means to me. That's what this means to me, is that you should always be willing to start over. And I've had several times in my life where everything has been taken away from me and I've had to start over with nothing. And it is such a triumph to know that everything that I have now, all the people that I have in my life now, are because I was willing to be resilient through those really difficult times. So anyway, that's what that tattoo means to me. I know that's a bit of a stretch, but that's what it means to me. So Brett Weinstein has useful ways to navigate complex topics. One is a special number. Amazing concept. We're in that part of the library. Yes. I really appreciate his perspective on things like lineage selection. Lineage selection is amazing. I really appreciate, he gave me the term sense-making apparatus, and I consider him to be a part of my sense-making apparatus. One is a special number is amazing because you can apply it to so many different things. He is such a wealth of amazing insight into just the machinations of game theory and the way that people operate and the way that natural processes operate. I've couldn't agree more. Love Brett. I hope that he's doing well. I think he's doing well, but I hope he's doing even better than I think he's doing. Larkin Rose is the most dangerous superstition is a good treatise in support for anarchism. I think that's in here. Oh, no, it's not. Okay. Well, there you go. Larkin Rose's, what is this? The most dangerous superstition. I will look that up, and I will get back to you when I have time to read it, because it'll go at the bottom of my list of like 85 books that I have to read. What do we got? Hey dear, do you read your super chats as they come in? I know it's shallow of me, but if not, I probably won't send any more. I apologize. Like I'm going through as quickly as I could. I may do these differently in the future. Right now I had prioritized going through the member questions that were sent in ahead of time as kind of a special perk for them. But moving forward, I will probably have members Q&A live streams that I do in the future. I'd like to do a live stream a week. I think that would be really cool. Once the move is over, once I'm settled in, I'm not going to commit to anything like that right now, but in the near future, I will do live streams more often. And when I do that, I like this. I really like interacting with you guys. It helps to give me an idea of what is interesting to y'all, which has helped me to pivot in different directions based on what people are interested in. So I apologize if I didn't get back to you in time. It looks like you sent this, about 30-40 minutes ago. So I apologize for that, but I will do better next time. This is my first live stream. So I appreciate the patience. Ian sent me great content. Hey, thank you for the $10. And thank you for coming to hang out with me. Any friend of the Great Mustache King is a friend of mine. Let's see. 30.99. Is that Australia? Whatever that is. Thank you so much. Really appreciate all your work, educational, entertaining, and funny. Finding a creator like you who I can agree with basically everything on every topic you cover is something different. It is Australia. I think that's an Australian flag. I can't. It's really tiny. Thank you. I'm going to push back on you agreeing with absolutely everything that I say. Because as I have said before, if you agree with somebody 100% of the time, it probably means you're not doing enough critical thinking. So here's my homework assignment for you. Pim E3E, or anyone who agrees with this sentiment. If you find yourself agreeing with everything that I have to say, I want you to go through one of my any of my videos or from now on and find one thing that you disagree with, whatever it is. It might not even be the substance of my video. It might be the way that I phrase things. It might be the fact that I say something offensive or a mom joke or whatever. Like, find one thing that you disagree with. I don't want anybody in my audience to agree with me 100% of the time. I need feedback and I need pushback. Like that video that I talked about at the beginning, the we need to be even more racist video where I got a ton of pushback on that. And you know what that let me know? That let me know that I need to go back and review and what did I get wrong? Or how could I have phrased it differently? What did I leave out that would have made my position more clear? And I think that I've identified those things. I hope I have. And I plan on doing a follow-up video at some point because I need those signals. So as much as I'm concerned about you and you being a critical thinker, I'm also selfishly in need of your pushback. So give me pushback when you have reason to, okay? What is this? Happy poop. Okay. Well, I am the Weird Tower man. I see that. Weird Tower 229. Is this a reference to something? Hang on. Weird Tower 229. The Weird Tower along I-35 in Texas is an experimental wireless power structure built by what the hell is okay, hang on. We're about to go on a segue here. What is this? What is this? The Weird Tower along I-35 in Texas is an experimental wireless power structure built by Visiv Technologies in Milford, Texas, standing roughly 229 feet tall. It is inspired by Nikola Tesla's turn-of-the-century Wardenclyffe Tower. Okay. I don't know what this is. I don't even know if this is what you were making reference to. What does this thing look like? I don't even know. I don't know which one of the. Anyway, whatever. Okay, I don't know. Whatever. That's a segue. I don't even know if that's what you were if that's what you were trying to make reference to. So I'm just gonna leave it. Whatever that is. Okay. Please make a Telegram channel. That way, it's a way better Q&A and feedback and sourcing. Ryan Dawes has one, works as a charm, saves email. Okay, I will look into that. Telegram has live stream option. Okay, I will look into that. Thank you for the recommendation. I'll check that out. Lisa Speller. Oh, you just sent $1 with no message. I would have read your message. Well, thank you. Thank you for the $1. I appreciate you. I noticed Mamba couldn't get comfy in her bed. Possibly it's too big for. Oh, you know what? Oh, no. Dang it. I'm a bad cat dad, guys. I didn't even notice the damn thing was like falling. Okay, but to be fair, she probably did that shit. So to be fair, I put it where it was supposed to go. Maybe I'll put some like some rubber, some grippy thing on the bottom so it won't move around. But okay, good to know. Thank you for pointing that out. I would have probably not noticed because I am extremely oblivious. Holy cow. $50. Thank you. It seems like a force is trying to destabilize the world economy, specifically by disrupting global oil markets. Is this just kabuki theater, or are there dueling factions trying to take control or something else? Okay. It's a good question. I don't know about this specifically, but are there rival factions in the just generally? Yeah. Why would there not be? I mean, my kind of current pet theory right now is that, and I'm going to get in trouble. Okay. I don't know this. I don't have a reason to know this, guys. Okay. So I don't need I'm just putting this out there. I think that Tucker Carlson might be representative of a faction of the US government which is sick and tired of being captured by Israel. Again, I don't have evidence for that. I don't know that. That's just kind of my headcanon. Okay. That's me watching the movie of whatever the hell is going on in the world right now. And, you know, it's hard to dismiss the fact that his family has a lot of connections to the intelligence community, but he's also very, very avidly anti-Zionist and anti-Israeli influence right now. So is it possible that both of those things could be true? Is it possible that he could be a representative of the kind of faction that you're talking about? I think you're not even talking about, you're talking about, disrupting global oil markets. Yeah, sure. I think that wealth and power is not consolidated exclusively within the hands of like one group. I think that it's split up most likely, but I regret a little bit putting forward that idea about Tucker. It doesn't even rise to the level of hypothesis. It's just kind of, every now and again, he says some stuff where I'm like, that is some Fed shit right there. But it's usually Fed shit in the direction of being anti-Israel. So I'm kind of like, all right, I'm going to let you cook, but I don't know. I think the same could be true for Nick Fuentes. I think Nick Fuentes is wicked captured, but I think Nick Fuentes is more in the line of like Bernie redirected the energy on the left towards Hillary at the end of the day. I think Nick Fuentes is, I'm gonna get in trouble. Okay. I got no beef with Nick. I got no beef with Tucker necessarily. I don't really know either of them personally. So anyway, I'm just going to shut my mouth before, before I get into more trouble. But yes, I do think that there could be factions within the, I think that there could be factions within the government. I would hope that there's at least some faction within the government that recognizes how screwed we are and is trying to release the Epstein files, is trying to do something. Tommy, hey, I see you, you sneaky little shit. Anyway, sorry, that's a buddy of mine. Anyway, yeah, I think it's possible. Yes, to Dallas, about to move East Texas. What part are you in? H-Town, baby, big Houston. Yeah, I'm not going to get super specific about where I am in Houston, but suffice to say, I am like an hour away from the city center, so you will never find me. Anyway, U.S. measles cases. Are you hardline anti-vax or just the COVID jab? Ignoring public health is selfish and shitty, but I'm biased. Okay, I am not an anti-vaxxer. Unless your definition of anti-vaxxer includes people who are opposed to mandatory vaccines. Okay? Because as far as I'm concerned, physical autonomy and the right to decide what you put in your body is paramount. Can I imagine a situation where I trust the pharmaceutical industry enough to just take whatever they say on faith? Can I imagine a situation where I trust the government enough to just take whatever they say on faith? Sure, but it sure as shit is not this pharmaceutical industry or this government. They lie about everything. How many different examples of pharmaceutical harm done to people? Have we forgotten about the opioid epidemic? Like, how there are people alive today that are still dealing with the fallout from the opioid epidemic. I am not opposed to vaccines on principle. I am opposed to people telling me that something is safe when you could not possibly have done long-term studies on it because it was just pushed out like a year ago. How am I supposed to know that there's not some long-term effect that's going to hit me 10, 15, 20 years from now? And when it came down to it, when I looked at COVID, when it came time for me to get the shot, I was a relatively young, relatively healthy man. I wasn't overweight. I wasn't immunocompromised, and I wasn't hanging out with anyone that was in a high risk category. Why in that situation? Oh, and also I had COVID already. I got COVID early. Why in that situation would I roll the dice on an experimental pharmaceutical product? Why?
Nobody has been able to give me a satisfactory answer for that. If the vaccine is safe and effective at preventing infection or reducing the impact of infection, great, you take it. My thing is this: I did what I needed to do to make sure that I was not putting anyone else at risk. And after that, everyone else can fuck off, because my physical autonomy is paramount. That's what it comes down to. My body, my choice. Remember that? Remember how they changed that branding really conveniently? It stopped being my body, my choice right about that time. Marketing. Anyway, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I am pro physical autonomy. That's it. Okay. And I reserve the right to make a decision. I can appreciate the pushback. Ignoring public health is selfish and shitty. Okay. There's a lot of presumption baked into that, which would include that public health depends on me getting this thing. And I don't believe that it did. I still don't to this day. Anyway, I appreciate the $5. I hope you understand. I'm not being antagonistic towards you in particular. This is 6 years of me being called a grandma killer because I didn't take this thing, and totally mischaracterizing why I chose to not take it. So it's not you. I understand where you're coming from. I appreciate you very much. Thank you for, I'm sorry for, I'm not mad at you. I promise. Congrats on all your success. It is well earned. That is incredibly kind of you. Thank you. Knife twist. Oh, I know you, bud. Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you for, you don't have to super chat on top of membership. That's very kind of you, though. Thank you. Thank you for being honest out loud with style. Well, thank you for the $5 again on top of a membership, guys. That's it's very kind of you. What do we got here? Warrior of Light with $20. Thank you, my friend. You should interview Rabbi Cozy, and he will tell you about the Talmud and more. He's a Palestinian Christian, and his channel is Olive Roots. Okay, good. Okay, this is dude. This is exactly what I need. Olive Roots podcast Talmud. Okay. Here's my problem with the Talmud and why I have hesitated to do a video on it. My understanding of it, limited though it may be, is that the Talmud is a collection of legal arguments, right? Back and forth. Which means that if you pick up any particular part of the Talmud and you look at it, it may be an argument from absurdity. It may be an argument that is not held in high regard. It could be something totally ridiculous that Jewish people don't subscribe to. In the same way that, like, if you go back through the last, 200 years of legal precedent in the US, there's going to be a lot of really dog shit arguments that were made in favor of really unconstitutional things. But we don't subscribe to those things, so they're not relevant. But if you were to just compile all of that into this massive tome, you could go in and cherry pick. Well, this guy argued that you should be able to, I don't know, marry a watermelon on a Tuesday in town square or something. And we don't like that. So I'm just making up random stuff here. But the idea is I don't want to do what everyone else does and go to the Talmud and cherry pick random obscene sounding things if it turns out that there is a good reason why it is in there and it is not subscribed to. So having an expert would be very helpful to navigate that. Like, if I'm going to do it, I want to do it right? Obviously, I could do the same thing that everyone else does and do a big clickbait, like, oh, I read the Talmud and it's even worse than you thought. Oh, I already have the thumbnail in my head. I know exactly what I would do. It would be my face holding a giant book with like Lovecraftian tentacles coming out of it. Be like, oh, I read the Talmud and it was horrible. Yeah, but I don't want to fucking do the same thing. If what everyone else is doing is taking it out of context, I don't want to do that. Okay, because you can do that with any book. And it sounds like this book in particular would be very easy to do that. So anyway, that's a non sequitur, but I appreciate the $20, and I will look up Rabbi Cozy and maybe we can chat. I would love to have an interview about that. Big Boy Polite. Okay, yes, I'm gonna do right by you. I promise. I love you very much. I'm so sorry. Let's see. What do we got?
Investigate Act of 1871 ties a lot together. Act of 1871. I will look that up. Thank you. Thank you for the $2. My brother, is there an email to contact you for a discussion and exchange of thought? I really like how you think. Yes, it is MisterQuigley33@gmail.com. It should be in the description of my channel. Also, if you go to the description for any of my videos, you can also go to MisterQuigley33.com, and that has all of my links. It has my email address on it. That would be the easiest way to navigate. Just go to MisterQuigley33.com. or find any of the links in my description for any of my videos. That link will be there. Just click on that, go through it. My email is in there. Get in touch with me that way. I'm late. I got off work, but salute, Mr. Q. Thank you for the $5, Mr. 3 more reps. Appreciate you. Man, so many new memberships. Thanks, guys. Wow. Holy cow. What do we got here? $5. Do you believe the modern day Zionist movement is about the Greater Israel Project or trying to build the third temple, wants to bring the Antichrist? Okay. I don't know. I go back and forth on this, trying to decide whether it is whether we are actually being run by an apocalyptic doomsday cult that is trying to self-fulfill the apocalypse. Which my position on that is that it would be weird to do that if you know how the story ends. Right? If you know how the story ends, it'd be a weird thing for you to try to self-fulfill that unless you're arrogant and you think that, you know, Lucifer will be successful ultimately. It just seems like a weird thing to do. But what I think is probably more likely, even if that isn't true, they're using selective reading of the Bible, especially the Old Testament and Revelation, as a way to compel enough Americans to go along with the Greater Israel Project. You know what I mean? Like using that as a blueprint, because the blueprint is close enough. The blueprint, which also says that the whole world will turn against Israel. The whole world will turn against Israel at the end of days. That is in Revelation. So there's a lot of Christians, my dad included, you know, and members of my family who look at what's happening in the Middle East right now and explicitly like, oh yeah, this is biblical prophecy. This is what's supposed to happen. So we got to go along with it. And yeah, it makes sense that everyone's turning against Israel because that's in the Bible too. So I don't know. I think it could go either way. I'm not as worried about the literal truth. I just want the suffering to stop. That's where I fall down on it, or come down on it, I guess. What are your thoughts on all the rich people building bunkers? Yeah, you know, I think, you know, more power to them, I guess. I don't know, man. Like, it's just sad that you have all that power and wealth and influence, and rather than, you know, using it to maybe help us course correct away from this cliff we're violently accelerating towards, you're just going to keep your foot on the gas pedal and, like, knowing that you have a personal airbag that is going to take care of you, and a golden parachute that's going to fly you away from the crash right before it happens. So it's just kind of sad that's what's happening. But I guess you don't get into a position like that unless you're a fucking sociopath. So it's not that surprising. Tommy, I appreciate you, brother. This is by the way, this guy has a great YouTube channel. You should go check it out. He's an excellent mechanic. Will you be going live more often? Yes, that is the plan. Again, I want to do at least one live stream a week. But again, I'm not committing to anything until after I am fully moved in and unpacked and all of that. Because, like, good God, it is just... Anyway, holy sweet baby Moses. $100 from Faye Sacred Journey. 100% of my donation money will henceforth go directly to my favorite podcasters and my church. 0 will be going to politicians. Thank you for your service. Got here late. We'll have to catch up later. Damn. That is extremely generous of you. Thank you very much. I think you're going to have a hard time getting away with not giving any money to politicians, though. I think taxes are kind of hard to get around, but man, thank you so much for that. That is extremely kind of you. Thank you.
Fuentes and Tucker are NSOE. Check Dr. Shiva. Dr. Shiva. I got so much stuff to look up after this. I appreciate the $2. Thank you much. I just want to help support your channel. Christ is King. Thank you. Christ is indeed King. Thank you so much for the $10. I appreciate that. Just a dirtbag Canadian leftist saying thank you for your content and perspective. Hey, I've got people up in Canada. I appreciate that. There's no such thing as a dirtbag Canadian. What are you talking about? Y'all are nice as hell. Always remember you can't spank a cat. Well, that's not with that attitude. You can't. That's quitter talk right there. So, okay, we have 3 cats actually, and one of them really, only one of them, the other 2 hate it, but he really likes the, like the butt pat thing where you like basically are just smacking them. He begs for it. He's a little freak. He loves it. Anyway, greetings from Palestine, Texas. Hey, brother, neighbor, Kevin Smith. Is that your real name, or is that are you paying homage to Silent Bob? That would be cool. Love your show. Glad to catch you live. Vaccine injured 2.5 years and recovering from GBS and heart damage. I am. Oh, I think your message got cut off, bud. I don't know how to find the other half of it if it is in here. I don't know how to search through. Okay, well, I'm sorry to hear you're vaccine injured. Yeah, this is one of the things that I love most about Jimmy Dore as well, is how, like, he and he says it better than I ever will, but like the fact that Jimmy Dore gets called an anti-vaxxer, he's like, no, I got the stupid vaccine. That's why I'm injured. Like, he's had horrible neurological issues for years. Like since he got the jab, and people call him an anti-vaxxer. It's like, no, that's the whole point. I got your stupid vaccine and it injured me, and nobody takes him seriously. So, you know, God bless that man. He is a treasure. $50 with no comment. I don't even know what to say. Thank you, Amber H9515. That is extremely kind of you. Thank you so much. Memento is an amazing movie. Yes, someone of taste and culture. You need to bring on Kerp to derp you for a 5-claw pod. You can Yamamoto sip your tea whiskey. I think that chemistry would be epic. I don't know how to read the first half of that. Okay, which part of that is Kerp? I'm just going to copy your whole comment and look it up later, because I don't know. I can't make her heads or tails of this. Okay, I will look up this person later. I appreciate the $20. Thank you so much. Holy cow, did I get to the end? $2. It's his real name. Hey, you didn't have to. I appreciate the $2. I wasn't trying to get more money out of you, but I appreciate that. How do you feel? Okay, no, I'm not going to ask any more questions. It's a Jimmy Dore show reference. Oh, it's Kurt. Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize. Okay, dude, Kurt would be amazing. Are you kidding me? It would just be me sitting there letting him blow my hair back with his manic energy. I love Kurt so much. I had the same show that I went to saw JD live when I got that stupid $30 water bottle back there and slapped a JD sticker on it. I got to see Kurt live, and it was amazing. It was so funny, dude. Anyway, well, thank you so much for sharing. I'm a bit oblivious, I guess. $50 from Magnificent 78. Your skits make me think. Thanks for doing live. Well, thank you. Holy cow. Like, I'm blown away with the gratitude being expressed. It really means a lot. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, I'm going to do more. I promise. Here's the timeline. We have to be out of the old house by the 31st. So after that, after like a week, maybe after the 7th of August,
I will look into start doing a live stream per week. I will tentatively make that commitment to that tentative timeline. Guys, please don't get mad at me if I don't. I really thought the move was going to be easier than it has been, but of course it's just been a total nightmare. So I will do more live stuff, I promise. No worries, but wanted to say thank you for sharing your thoughts. Love your show. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Watch his show Derp with Kerp. Is that okay, guys? I don't know if y'all are messing with me. Oh my God, it's an actual show. I didn't know. I had no idea. Okay, well, now I know. Oh, that's just his channel. Why did I not know that was a reference? I'm out of the loop. I apologize. I've lost my my cred when it comes to when it comes to JD. I apologize, everybody. Man, holy cow. That's the end of the list, guys. I kind of want to get back into the comments here, and I'm still here, you know. I'm still hanging out. Let me see if I can get back into this. Where are the comments here? Oh, here we go. I can just go right through here. Look at this. I can see all of them. Oh, okay. Here. Yeah, I'm caught up. I noticed you mentioned the Serenity Prayer in your most recent video. Are you a member? No. Oh, I assume you mean of AA? No. I did attend AA when I got caught with weed as a 20-year-old. When I got arrested. Okay, so I'll just, you know what, I'll share this because y'all have stuck around to the end stream. You get to know some cool MisterQuigley backstory and lore. When I was a young man, when I was 19 years old, I was working at a fast food restaurant in a college town, and the college had these little debit cards that you could use and spend on certain restaurants around the campus. There's a way for like parents to give their kids money to spend on food and books and things like that. And I was working at this restaurant, and every now and again, mind you, I was like dead broke and hungry, and like I had dropped out of college. I had no idea what I was doing with my life. I had no prospects. I was shoplifting from grocery stores to feed myself. It was a dark time. So anyway, I was working at this takeout restaurant, and every now and again, I would get someone call in and put in a to-go order using one of these debit cards. And when I punched those debit cards into the system, it showed me how much money they had in their account. And so every now and again, I would get somebody who had like $8,000 in this student debit account. And me being the newly very atheistic, nihilistic young man that I was, cut off from my parents, cut off from like any kind of social safety net, I took it upon myself to steal. Basically, I would use those debit card numbers to buy myself food from that restaurant, which was just the dumbest imaginable thing I could have done, because I would punch in their order and then punch in my own order immediately after. And then, of course, after a few months of this happening, every now and again, the debit card company noticed like there's all these duplicate transactions. So I got caught. And because I was technically using some form of like a credit or debit card with real money on it, they hit me with 2 counts of felony larceny, 2 counts of credit card fraud, and 2 counts of embezzlement. So I had 6 felonies on my record before the age of 20. I spent my 20th birthday in jail. I had a clean criminal record. So they reduced all of those sentences down to a misdemeanor shoplifting charge. So, you know, but for the next 7 years, I still had those charges on my record, and I couldn't get a real job. I got turned down for jobs at like McDonald's and Uber and like, anyway, it was a rough time, but I forgot why I was telling this story to begin with. But but AA. So anyway, when they came to pick me up for that shoe, my roommate's bong was sitting on the table behind me, and I was like in my underwear. So I was like, can I put some clothes on? And they were like, yeah. So they came in the apartment and they saw the bong and they were like, is that your bong? And I was like, I wasn't about to get my roommate in trouble for his fucking bong because I'm getting charged with larceny. So I was like, yeah, it's my bong. So they hit me with a misdemeanor possession charge, and I had to attend 8 months of AA as a part of like having that worked off my record. So anyway, that was a very long story, but yeah, that was very informative. Yeah, stoner honor. Yes, exactly. I would never I would never want anyone to get in trouble, legal trouble, because of something I did. There's no way. So I yeah, yeah, I got into a bunch of trouble, and that really informed a lot when I was a young man, because at that point in my life, I really needed somebody to put their boot on my neck, because I was a very angry and potentially, catastrophically reckless young man. And I really needed somebody to put their boot down on my neck and say, no, like, even if you don't believe in God, you still can't behave this way. Even if you have abandoned all faith, even if you've abandoned all faith, you need to do that. So anyway, let me see. Are there any new supers in here? Somebody gifted 5 memberships. I'll be completely honest, guys. I don't even know what that. Okay, I don't even know what that means. Hold on. What does it mean to gift memberships on YouTube? Gifted to another random user in a live stream or premiere. Oh, guys. Oh no, oh dude, I promised I was going to give away merch during this. Holy crap. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I completely forgot. I completely forgot. Oh, I was supposed to give away merch. Guys, I was supposed to give away merch. Okay. Here's what's going to happen. Leave a comment. I got to pick 3 people. No, I got to, cause I was going to give like $50 worth of merch to 3 people during the stream, but I completely forgot about that. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. Leave a comment on the video, and I'm going to find a way to randomly pick 3 people. I'm going to find a way to randomly pick 3 people after the stream, and I will figure out a way to get you guys merch. Oh God, I'm so sorry. I completely forgot about that. Okay. I'll make good on it. There's so many things I got to make good on here, but I will make good on that, and I will gift 3 of you good people $50 worth of merch from the merch shop. By the way, if you are not aware, I have merch in the merch shop. You can find it at MisterQuigley33.com. And yes, I think these are the comments. I think that what you guys are doing right now are the comments. So I hope that's how that works. I don't know, guys. I will figure it out. Worst case scenario, the next time I do a live stream, I'll just give away twice as much merch. I apologize. I appreciate all of you guys being here. I think comments on this video. I know. I appreciate it. I'm over here kicking myself because, okay, well, comment. Yeah, just comment. I will figure it out. I will figure out a way to gift some merch to somebody. I appreciate all of you very much. Thank you all for being here for my first live stream. Holy cow. This was a lot of fun. I'm definitely going to have to do this more often. It went better than I thought it would. Oh, thank you, Becky. Thank you for that last minute super thank you so much. All right, guys, I'm done reading comments. I appreciate all of you so much. But I am going to get out of here. Thanks for being here. This was a roaring success, I think, or at the very least, it wasn't a catastrophic failure, which is as close to a roaring success as I need for my first time doing something like this. So I really appreciate it. You guys are all awesome, and I appreciate all of you very, very much. Thank you so much. And stay tuned, because next week I'm going to put out a video on 9/11. That is the video for next week, is going to be a video on 9/11 and Israel's connection to it. So stay tuned for that. Love all of you guys very much. You guys have a great evening and a great weekend, and I'll see you next time. Bye.